Hello friends and welcome back. So in this session we will learn what is elastic IP in AWS cloud and how we can assign an elastic IP address to a particular instance. Okay, but before that I will explain you the concept of elastic IP. What is elastic IP in AWS? What is the purpose of that? Okay, and then what are the charges for that? If you are going to assign that elastic IP address to your particular EC2 instance, okay, so what are the charges for that? Okay, so whenever we create an EC2 instance in the AWS cloud, okay, so it assign a public and private IP address to that particular instance. Okay, so for example, if I go to Cloud Console, okay, so here you can see I have the multiple machines. Okay, so now if I click on some machine, like let me click on this particular machine. Okay, so and if I go to the detail section, okay, so here you can see there is a public IP address section and there is a private IP address section. Okay, so as of now, public IP is blank because this machine instance is not running. It is shut down as of now. Okay, so private IP is there. So private IP is permanent. Okay, that means it is not going to change. It will always associated with the instance till it is there, till you are not going to delete that particular instance. Okay, so private IP address is used for the internal communications. Okay, so maybe you have multiple instances in your subnet. Okay, so with the help of this private IP address, different machines in the same subnet can talk to each other. Okay, but you cannot reach to this particular instance from the outside or from the internet or the public network using this private IP because this is completely internal. This is a private IP which is used internally. Okay, so now whenever we create any instance in the AWS and we try to access these machines from the public network or from the outside, okay, so we use a public IP address, this one. Okay, so this public IP address is assigned whenever you start the machine by default. Okay, so whenever we create any machine here, okay, so it will have the public IP when you start the machine. Okay, otherwise it will be blank. Okay, so now the very important thing here, this is called an ephemeral IP in the AWS. That means often called an auto assigned public IP because it automatically assigns. That's why it is called the ephemeral. It is going to be auto assigned. Okay, and it is a temporary public IPv4 address assigned to EC2 instance on launch. It is only valid while the instance is running. If you stop or terminate the instance, AWS release the IP and a new one is assigned when you start it again. So that means this public IP address by default is ephemeral. You cannot save it anywhere to access your machine because whenever you are going to terminate your machine or maybe you are going to restart your machine, even you are going to stop and start your machine, this IP address will get changed a new. So every restart of your instance will assign a different public IP address, and that is why it is called the ephemeral IP address, which is or also called the auto assigned public IP address. Okay, so that means you cannot use the same public IP to access your machine. You cannot give or distribute this public IP address to any of your engineers. Okay, because every time you are going to start your instance, this is going to be changed by default, which is called the ephemeral. Now, what is the solution for that? The solution is you have to assign the elastic IP address, EIP. Okay, so elastic IP is a static public IP. So once you assign an EIP, elastic IP address to your machine, okay, then it will be static. It is not going to change. Okay, but because this is static public IP address, so you have to pay something for that. Okay, so the default public IP which is assigned to your machine, you don't have to pay any for that. You don't need to pay any for that. Okay, but if you are going to assign the elastic IP to your machine, it is going to charge something for you. So now, if you see here, all the machines, if you see here the public IP section, all the machines, the public IP is blank because all the machines are stopped. Okay, but only one machine is you can see this particular machine is having an IP address which is showing here in the public IP. Even the machine is not running. It is stopped here as of now because I have assigned a public IP to this particular machine. So because now this is a static public IP which is not going to change. So that's why even the machine is not running. EC2 instance is not running. It is showing the public IP here, right? And to create the this EIP, we have to go to the elastic IP section, which is inside the network and security. So that means once you are on the EC2 instance dashboard, okay, so here if you go to the elastic IP section, so whatever the elastic IP that you are going to create, it will be displayed here. So as of now, you can see this is one of the elastic IP, okay, which is there, and it is associated with one instance, and the associated instance you can see here, associated instance ID. So if I will click on this one, it will take me back to the same instance which I was showing you on the screen. Okay, it will take me to the instance. Okay, and this is the instance I was showing you, right, where we can able to see the public IP here, or I also you can see in the elastic IP here. So if I remove this filter, It will show you all the machines. So only this machine is having the public IP, which is a static IP address. This is not going to change. So this is the purpose of elastic IP. Okay, so whenever you are going to stop your machine, you are going to recreate, your elastic IP will retain. Okay, you can reutilize that plus particular elastic IP. Right. Now, what is the charges for that? So it's not a very big charge. So AWS charge around 0.005 dollar per hour, which is approximate $3.6 per month for all public IP we address, including elastic IP addresses. And this fee applies to any EIP that is unassociated with a running instance attached to ideal resources, or if multiple EIPs are assigned to the instance. That means if you are creating an your public IP. Okay. So after that, what we do, we associate it with a particular instance. For example, I have created my public IP, and then I have associated with this particular instance because I want to assign a static IP, public IP to this instance. So if you have created some elastic IP here, but you have not assigned to any instance, even in that case also, you will be charged, even it is not associated with any instance, because you have reserved the one public IP. Now, if you are using or not using is a different thing. So you will be charged for that one. Okay, so this is all about the elastic IP address. What is the purpose of that? And then what is ephemeral IP? Okay, and then what is the charges? And then how to assign it to a particular machine. So let me show you. So simple is very simple. You go to your EC2 dashboard. So let me go back to the main screen. Okay, so here you can visit to the EC2 dashboard. So if you have visited multiple time, it will be here in the recently visited. Otherwise, you can search here as well, EC2. Okay, and then you go to the EC2 dashboard. Okay, which is specifically related with the instance and then related resources, right? So here instances, it will show you all the resources here. So now to create an elastic IP, you have to go to the network and security and then elastic IPs. So to create a new public IP or elastic IP, you have to click on allocate elastic IP address. Okay, so now importantly here, the network border group. Okay, so here you can see in which network border group you would like to assign this IP address. Okay, so here you can say it automatically taking the AP-Northeast-1. Okay, so this is my region. So this is I am on the Asia Pacific region, and if you see here, what is the region for me? What is the region code for me? It is AP Northeast 1. So AP Northeast 1. That means it is going to assign a public IP address which you can assign to a machine which is running on any of the availability zones, which is part of this particular region. Okay, so there are three different availability zones are here. So once you create an elastic IP, you can assign to any of the region which is part of this particular region. Okay, so I'm going to select the default one, which is my default region. Okay, and simply after that, you don't need to select any option. You just need to click on the allocate. Okay, now you can see immediately you will see an IP has been allocated. Let me close it. Okay, now you can see this is the IP address that has been allocated for me, right, which is the public IP. This is the allocation ID for this public EIP, and you can see if I show you here associated instance ID. So there is no instance ID associated, right, because this is the public IP I have just allocated, but I have not assigned this particular public IP to any instance as of now, right? And this is the public IP that has been associated with my instance. So even that I was talking about, even now you have reserved this public IP, but you have not assigned it to any of the instance. Okay, but still it is going to charge you. AWS will charge you even you are not assigned this public IP to any instance as of now, right? So now the public IP or elastic IP has been allocated. So now you need to assign it to a particular instance. So click on the particular elastic IP address, go to your actions, and then you have to select the option associate elastic IP address, because we are going to associate it with a particular instance, right? So here you can see the default option is instance, and once you click on this here instance, okay, so it is going to list all the instances that you have in your particular region. So these all are the instances that I have as of now, right, which I have shown to you some time back. Okay, so you have to select to which particular instance you are going to assign the public IP. Okay, so now suppose that I will assign this to my this particular machine, okay, which is K8S CP1. Okay, so I have selected the machine which is K8S CP1. Okay, so let me show you it in a duplicate screen as of now. What is the status as of now for this particular machine? So let me go to EC2 instances. Okay, so here you can see this is the only machine where I have the static IP address. So what I'm going to do now, this is the K8S CP1 machine. Okay, as of now you can see there is no public IP, because this is by default assigning an ephemeral IP address. So once I will assign this elastic IP address, then it is again going to show me here, right? Because again, because this is a static elastic IP which is going to assign to this particular machine, which is K8s CP1. Okay, so here let me show you again. So this is the machine I have selected to which I am going to associate this particular elastic IP. Okay, so here you can select the private IP, and this is the corresponding private IP which is automatically taken for this instance. So if I show you here, so this is the my machine, and this is the corresponding private IP, right? So this is automatically taken care here based on the machine instance that you have selected here. Okay, and then you can select associate. Okay, so now you can see the elastic IP has been associated. So now if I refresh my screen, now you can see that instance ID is associated. It was earlier blank when we created the EIP. Now it is associated with a particular instance. So if I go here and then let me refresh my instance screen. Okay, and let me show you. Okay, so it is not refreshed yet. Okay, let me refresh it. Okay, now you can see this is the machine instance, and now you can see the public IP here, right? Because this is the public IP that has been reserved now from the pool, right? 13.193.187.252, which we can see here. Now this machine has the public IP. So whenever you are going to restart this machine, it is not going to assign any of the new public IP from the pool. It will remain static. So you can now access this machine and you can save this public IP with respect to this particular machine. Okay, and you can access your machine anytime with the help of this public IP. Okay, and if you want to see the charges, what I told to you that this is the charges that AWS is going to charge you, how to check that one. So you can just go to the pricing screen of your AWS. You can just for the AWS pricing on the Google, you will land up on this screen. So here you can see the different charges for different resources. Okay, so now suppose I want to check the charges for the elastic IP. So you can go to elastic IP address pricing. Okay, and it will show you this one public IP4 tab on the VPC pricing page. So let me click on VPC pricing page. So this is a VPC pricing page, and here you can see multiple tabs are here, different resources. So let me click on public IPv4 address. Okay, so here you can see the multiple information about the public your IPv4 address, which is the elastic, and this is the charges. Okay, in use and ideal. In use matlab that means you have assigned your IP address to a particular instance. Ideal means you have created but you have not assigned to any instance. In both cases, the charge will be same $0.005. Okay, and if you calculate, which will come somewhere around $3.6 per month. Okay, so this is the purpose of your elastic IP and how it is different from the ephemeral default IP address, what is the charges, and how you can assign to a particular instance in your AWS cloud.